My name is Katherine Scardino. I have been an attorney since 1984. I was born in East Texas to very poor people. My father was a tomato farmer, and I think actually he was 60 when I was born. So, I always grew up with a grandfatherly type. And my mother worked at a hospital in Jacksonville, Texas. So I was born in a small town in East Texas with my father being a farmer, so we were very, very poor. And the question is, how did you get to be a lawyer? And it's a long road, but I got married to a football sweetheart, high school sweetheart who was a football star in Jacksonville, and I was a cheerleader, and we ran off and got married and had a baby and all of that. Of course, my two children are now grown, so that was a very long time ago. And then I married a man who was in law school, and finished putting him through law school, and now we were married for like 21 years and divorced. And during that period of time, I realized that I really liked what he did for a living. I mean, he was a criminal defense lawyer. And I noticed that he didn't really seem to have to work very hard. He played golf a lot and had time for his friends. And so I thought, well, that's what I want to do. But the problem was I only had a high school education, so I had a long road to go. So when I was 31, I started college and law school. So all my 30s was in school. And finally, I was licensed to practice law in my late 30s. And so I've been doing it ever since, and I've only worked for myself. I've never worked for anybody. I've been a sole practitioner this entire time. And I started out here in Houston taking juvenile and criminal court appointments back in the time in the early 80s when lawyers could actually do that. When they immediately finished law school, you could take your first appointment. They can't do that now, which, since I have a son who graduated from law school a couple of years ago, or got licensed a couple of years ago, it's hard for me to see these young students who are not students, but who are actually young lawyers, not be able to have business because they can't take court appointments like we did back then. And so I worked real hard. I started getting a lot of appointments and started taking felony appointments almost immediately, which was good or bad or whatever. I'd like to think that I didn't cause too much damage to the clients that I had back in the early 80s. But and I was appointed to my first capital case only 2 or 3 years after graduating from law school, which is kind of scary if you think about it today, in today's world.